Three, two, one. So how did I get my start in the beauty industry? Well, when I was 5 years old, my grandmother sold her salons, and we went down and visited her for Christmas, and they were doing hair at the kitchen table for some of her clients, and they were having coffee and cake and laughing and giggling, and then when the girls left, they left money. And I wanted to know what job that was that you could have coffee and cake, laugh and giggle, and people threw money at you. So my grandmother was a hairdresser. She owned 2 salons at the time in Gilroy, California. And I was like, oh, okay, so that was interesting. I didn't know what it meant, but it was interesting. And so as I got older, I was about 16 years old, and I figured out that I could be queer, I could be flamboyant, I could be an artist, I could make money, I could talk to people, I could have all kinds of experiences, I could be a platform artist, I could be a salon artist. I mean, there were just so many venues and avenues that I could go to or go and be, that I decided that hair was going to be it. So in 11th grade, we were talking about career day, and I said I was going to be a hairdresser to put the local bitch out of business. And everybody started laughing. And I just started smiling because nobody liked her the way she cut hair. But they all went to her. And I thought, I mean, even people don't like you, they still have to have a haircut and they still go. So I figured that it was the business for me. And so when I graduated high school, I went to check out the beauty schools in Anchorage, Alaska, which is 200 miles away from where I grew up. And I found the one that was the busiest and the biggest school and said, no, this is where I have to be. And I got to do a trip through the school with my mom, and we checked out the school, and then we made up our minds. And my parents were kind of against it because it was really gay, but I was all for it because it was really gay. So I decided that I was going to be a hairdresser right then and there, like my grandmother, like my aunt, and like my uncles that were barbers, or my other relatives that were barbers. And when I went to beauty school, I had a blast, but people didn't take me very serious because I was only 17. And so I am 55 now, so 38 years ago, I was just a snot-nosed kid learning how to do hair. And in beauty school, I can remember one of the clients, this is one of the earliest experiences I had with clients telling me their stories, was she told me all about her hysterectomy and everything she was going through. And then she told me about her facelift. And then she told me about her son-in-law. And then she told me about her family. And she just would go on and on and on every time I would do her hair. And I got to thinking, is this what the business is all about? Like, I wasn't sure if that's the direction I wanted to go in. But then I had somebody sit me down and say, and she was a very nice lady that was one of the instructors. And she says, if you become a good listener and you're entertaining, you will always have a good business. And she said, and if you are good at your work, if you have any talent, she says it's going to shine through and people are going to respect it and they're going to want to come back to you. And she says, but number one thing you got to be is a good listener. Well, I don't know if I thought that I was going to make it then because I'm a good talker, but when I listen, I hear very distinct things. And so that was the beginning. I saw my grandmother. I decided when I was in my teenage years that I was going to do it. I went for it when I graduated school. And then right away, I was exposed to people telling me their life stories. And at the time, I didn't have a lot of advice. But as years went on, I have a lot of advice. Little backstory about me. My parents own a roadhouse, so I met people from around the world since I was 7 years old. I met people that were from different countries, different social, economic backgrounds, different religions, and I learned a lot about them. My mom had the World Book Encyclopedia, and then she got the World Book of Knowledge, and so we would go look up where the people were from and study it. And so I've been exposed to human beings being in my personal space since the age of 7. When I turned 21, I was a bartender for our business, and that was exciting. So I've been a bartender since I was 21. And then at 17, of course, the hairdresser. So there isn't anything I haven't heard and not much I haven't seen. And that was pretty much how I began in the business. And I didn't know that it was going to take 30 years plus of my life, but it did. And so I will talk more about that. Thank you.